Good morning, guys, and welcome to our broadcast. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Lennox and Kirk and Gail and Natasha, Dexter, good morning. Good morning to each and every one of you. Wherever you're joining us from this morning, let us know if you're hearing us clearly, you're seeing us clearly. How are you folks doing this morning? Folks, believe it or not, it's Friday, the 7th day of March. The first week is gone. We hope that you guys are doing well wherever you're joining us from this morning. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be here with you. Another day, final day for the week, folks. A final morning show for the week. Sporily, see you on the live day this morning. Good morning to you, Loretta Argyle, and all the other folks who have joined us this morning. Joy and Joy Scott Carter. Good to have you. The folks who sing no song. Guys, are you hearing me? Well, Errol says hearing you loud and clear. I think somebody says, Everett says no sound. Everett, I don't know. Remember? Just wait for it to kick in. And if not, just hit the big back TV. Hit the back. What tax? You know? Alexis Charlie. Good to see you on the live this morning. Emily Durant. Emily, how are we doing this morning, girl? Emily, how are we doing this Friday the 7th of March? How are we doing? This is my mother's birth month. Believe it or not. Yeah, it's my mother's birth month. Yeah. Pisces. She's Pisces. Naomi, how are you doing? Naomi look like them Pisces people, miserable. Can't please them, hard to please. She look like a Pisces. Difficult. Emily Durant, Fred Mason. Good to have you. Naomi Drucker. Good to have you on the live. You know, some of you at the gym, just come from the gym, going to the gym. You just finished your morning walk. You know, you did your stretches. Folks, you need to come out your house exercise, you know. YouTube got the whole thing. You find something, you look, warm up, stretches, something. You got to be active, folks. Jilly G on the line this morning. Good morning, Julie G. Pam Hall's on the live too, and Forbes. Forbes was talking about my whistling yesterday. You know, you gotta make sure your lips moisturize. You don't just, well, I can't just whistle like that right off the bat on cue, you know. And now that I'm thinking about it, I feel a little nervous too, so I better not embarrass myself. But I could whistle a little bit. Forbes, I could whistle a little bit. Right? I went to sleep with that on my mind. Forbes said, can I whistle? All right. Techwin. Harold Boyer. Good to have Harold on the live this morning. Rena. Right? Jill G wants to know what's in my cup this morning. Some Gatorade. Right? I don't use cup. I use a utensil for drinking. Don't bring cup wrong way. Having some Gatorade this morning. Good to have all of you on the live. Edward Rooms. In fact, Madu's on the live too. Kirk Anthony Phillips is here. Kirk, how are you doing? How are you this morning, Chief? Jenny's Booker. And I can call names for the next 5 minutes and then say thank you for joining us. You know, by the time we get to Friday, folks, we tire out ourselves. By the time we get to Friday, we've tired out ourselves. But I hope you guys are good and you'll get some rest this weekend. Yep, I'm going to get some breakfast after the show. I'm thinking about putting in 2 laps, you know. Go do a little walking this morning. I feel a little sluggish. You know how it is sometimes you wake up. Sometimes you hit the ground running and some other mornings you just kind of need a little push. Right? Yvette Moore, is that true? Ronaldo Casillas, is that sometimes you get a little turpentine in your tail. Alce Galloway, good to have all of you on the live this morning, folks. It's a privilege. A lot of things happening. Let's start in Trinidad. Saw some stuff happening and going on in Trinidad. I don't know how much you guys are into soca and calypso and so on. I want to put you all on the spot. But some of my favorite people, you know, Fair and Lions and Bunji. This is Bunji. They said they're stepping back a little bit. They don't like what's happening with this road march. Apparently, one of the judges, before the final results was tabulated, took to social media and offered some comments who was in the lead and who was winning and so on. And they didn't appreciate that. Right? They said it was premature to come out and be giving out details before you had a final result. It isn't done like that. And they said because of the whole scene and how things are going in the industry, they said they're stepping back from these kind of competitions. But they said they hope to see better because they want the young people in Trinidad and Tobago, the young artists coming up, to be able to benefit from a better culture, a fairer system. You know, as a girl, you can't take a lot of nonsense, you know. You can't take a lot of nonsense. You spot some things far off. You spot something. You can't take a lot of foolishness. And that's why I guess lots of us, we're so vocal about what's happening locally here. Right? When you were younger, you didn't understand a lot of things, but you understand it better by and by. Not so? Good morning to all the folks giving us a shout out. Dolly wants to know who I dream about. You know, my wife is always on me with this. You know, Nia, my wife is always with me on this. I don't dream. It's a reality. If I have a dream, if I wake up and say to my wife, I dreamed something last night, she sit down right away. She said, tell me about it. For her, every night she mind light up. You see when I rest my head on that pillow? I got a thing with pillows too. Folks, I don't know. Remember we talked about this? I got a thing with pillows. I got the wrong pillow for a long time. I keep changing, but I ain't falling on that right one. So now I actually am on a travel pillow. I got 2 travel pillows that I bought that seems to work better than a pillow, a non-traveling pillow. You know, but I'm looking for a good pillow. I keep running into those that I wake up in back pain, my neck hurting, and maybe that's why we get to Friday feeling how we feel. I'm on 2 small travel pillows, you know, that you take when you on the plane or something. right? Because I used to have the crying cushion, whatever the thing is, man, to put the baby to sleep. It looks like a semicircle, you know. I stumbled on that one day and had a perfect sleep on it, and I just kept using it. I dashed with the baby, and I started using this. It looks like a semicircle, but it's a pillow, and it fitted my neck so perfect. But now over time, you know, the thing gets flat and so on, and it doesn't, you know, it's counterproductive now. So I switched to two smaller travel pillows that I had bought, but you know, half night they slip away and you end up with your foot on the wall or your neck in a bad angle, depends on what happened in the bedroom at such and such a time. And you know, so they become a little better, but not so much. So I'm looking for that. But I don't dream like that. It's a rarity. You know, I see visions. They say the young men shall see visions and the old men shall dream dreams. I don't dream like that, you know. Visions, yeah. So they're stepping away. So that's it. The point I wanted to make is as we get older, Everett and so on, you can spot some things coming down the road. And I told you guys a lot of times when, you know, my mother in particular said some things to me when I was young. I said, well, she know. She lived her life already. Right? But it's from the experience of the elders. They're trying to put you on a certain path. But you ain't taking learning. You ain't taking learning. You know? But we understand it better by him. And that's what the whole thing with Jack Dio. When you hear like you know it. Total confunction nonsense. You pick it up in your spirit quick. Especially if your spirit clear like me. Evan Ramasar, Jilly G. So the people said they're stepping back. They're enabling no more. We stepping back from this madness. Sometimes you gotta go to come. Sometimes it's like that. You know? And as we come to some matters locally, folks, we told you guys about this one a little while ago. Young mother and father going about the business on a little electric motorcycle, electric scooter here, you know. Those are all the rave now. These little electric scooters, and you know, they met in an accident. The baby was sent up in the air, and of course, I ain't gonna paint that for you. Land on the road, the baby succumbed, and now the mother has transitioned. Now, folks, these are real difficult times. I tell you, these are really extraordinarily difficult times. So much happening, and now you know you lost the baby, you lost the mother. I fast and prayer with the young man now, right? Because he's now the sole survivor, and this is Sarita Besedi, known as Covita. Right, so Covita transition, and this accident happened in Berbice on the quarantine. And as I said, Covita has now transitioned, and baby Salamaya transitioned before. And they did tell us that both parents were in a bad condition, health-wise, after this accident, and serious condition. And so it's sad now to see Covita has transitioned. We gotta be so careful on these roads, and I don't think we say it often enough now. And them boys trying one or two things, but you know, we got the money now. We gotta bring in the professionals. And those of you who live in the north, you live in the west, you all know it better than us. We can do so much better. I, on behalf of the last government, I was on a study tour, looking at public transportation. Those were the good old days. I was at City Hall, a councillor, deputy mayor at City Hall, and I was fortunate enough to be chosen on behalf of the city to be part of this study tour. We went to Colombia, we went to Mexico, we went to, there was a third place, but these countries have all grappled with intense traffic, intense road fatalities and congestion and the whole gamut of it, right? I think they refer to it as mobility. What is your mobility like? And this is meaning your invalid and the kind of stuff. Road mobility and so on. And And it's the point I want to get to is that these guys have this thing down to science now. It's a science. I was so amazed in Mexico, in Colombia, to see how transit operates. And they give you the history from where they came from, how the streets were congested and traffic back up for miles and all of that. And what they did. You know, bicycling, in this country, you ride a bicycle, people say you're poor. Right? But they introduced cycling as part of their country and built special roads and facilities to weave it into the transit system. Right? And to see it alleviate some of the traffic hazards and how they do the roads, you know, your pedestrian at the top of the pyramid, and the bigger the vehicle, the lower you are in the pyramid. So you take precaution to who at the top, pedestrian, motorcyclists, your cars and so on. And then you come down, you know, the trucks in our system, they're the apex. Apex predators, trucks followed by the buses. They're like, no. It was a shift for me, right? To see those people come up to a traffic light and stop. I was in Colombia for a week. I never heard a horn blow. 6-lane traffic. Didn't hear a horn once. Those people come to the traffic light. They wait. They see a pedestrian waiting to cross. They stop and give way to the pedestrian. 6 rows of cars. You got six rows of car back. They know they can't make the traffic light. The traffic light red is 30 seconds. Soon as the lights are green, they're blowing you. 6 rows back. I did not hear a horn in Colombia for that whole week. I was so astonished to see the cycle lanes in the middle of the 2 lanes. When you're driving, it looks as though the cyclists are riding towards you because of how the lanes are in the center of. It's just fascinating. I saw in Mexico how they reorganized the bus system. They took us to a lovely building, screens wall to wall, and at a flick of a button, Jelly G, they could show you in every bus. Got cameras. They know on the street where every bus is. So for instance, let's say you got at the stadium here, you got a big event, right? They know they could route some buses from Kitty to the stadium because more people need to get off the road there after the event. So they route more buses there, right? And it's fascinating. They know at any one time how many buses on Crowell Street, because you see a huge map, a digital map on the wall, lot of lights blinking. This is bus 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever the case is. Fascinating system. And at the push of a button, you can see what's happening inside the public bus. Video in real time and audio in real time. I was fascinated. So when I hear these boys talk, I say, shut your damn mouth. Fluff and bluff. Y'all are serious. Y'all are serious. And the APNU AFC organized that tour because of what they were doing on the ground here. What we were doing, listen to me, folks. One of our problems, we had a couple, was PR. I saw a plan that says, you know what? A bus route is needed between South and the East Coast. Direct bus route between South Granville in Georgetown and the East Coast. Because when the last administration studied the movement of people and vehicles, they realized a lot of people move from South Granville to the East Coast for work or for school. So if we cut out them having to come through Georgetown, then we ease some of that congestion in the city. But you can only do it if you study it. If you're going on whim and fancies, we got to bring the people who know, and the last administration did that. You had some people from Colombia, some people from Mexico and so on, came and showing us this thing. It's a science. It's not guesswork. It's a science. And then people way ahead of us. Way ahead. You know? When I went to Mexico, I said, well, I can see now some showdown at the OK Corral. I can see bramble blowing across the street and so, you know, they show it in the movie. I was so surprised. Mexico City got some areas looking like Fifth Avenue. You know, but my favorite was Colombia. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. You know, they say, what happens in Cartagena? You know? But be careful on the roads. It's so sad to see what's happening. So sad to see what's happening with our people. And this young lady, completed transition. You know, the baby land on the road. It's so sad. You know, we call it the electric motorcycle in the city. My wife and clan, they call it a keke. I don't know how they arrive at keke. Right? I don't know how they arrived there. A little insect the other day. I saw a little insect in the season, in the ceiling. I call it a let's say a grasshopper. My wife said, no, that's a gangasaka. I don't know. There's a difference. Electric motorcycle, they call it keke. I don't know how they arrived there. We got a lot of trouble in this country, folks. We got a lot of trouble in this country. You know, the teachers at CPC, they want to know the money. What happened? Show us the money. Right? The people want the money. Show us the money. That's what they say. A lot of promises. Left, right, and center. We got so much money now. But it's being misdirected. I'll show you just now how a lot of it might go to waste. How a lot of it might go to waste. And our people are asking us, you know, what's going on? What y'all doing? A little stipend. I was shocked the other day. Right? I was talking to a young man who's in the Gaisuko trading program. The Gaisuko training program. And he was saying that it's live-in. You got to live in and you get a little stipend. 4,000 a week. That's really attracting young people to be apprentices in mechanics and what's not. 4,000 a week. It's like, what? 4,000. So the teachers, right? The trainee teachers, they want to know what's happening. The trainee teachers. Because like the stipend halt. I hope Priya watching us this morning. Priya always quick to social media. It's not a bad thing. You know, this is the age we're living in. It's not a bad thing. The pre-service teachers at CPC, the letter in today's press, and they want to know if the teachers are receiving their stipend / salary. Right. Priya, I hope you see this letter. In 2022, the Minister Priya Manichan stated that pre-service teachers in college would receive a salary instead of a stipend. 2022, promise was made. 2 budgets later, it seems as though this is not the case anymore. They're reneging the promises. Priya, y'all don't do that, right? Because y'all say y'all done fulfill the manifesto and so on, time is over. And those extras. So the folks want to know what is happening with this salary that pre-service teachers were promised in 2022. So the CPEC Training College in Region 5 at Belgium, they would have announced no stipends will be given to students anymore, and going so far as to seek $500 donation to purchase chairs and other items for students. So not only they're not giving the stipend, but they're now asking for a donation. A parent just recently was lamenting the fact, same thing, that parents got to ask for so much donation now to fix the chair, to buy a blackboard, to print two paper, donation. So the stipend stop, and you're asking the pre-teachers, pre-service teachers for stipend, for donation. So what's going on with that? What's going on with that? No, as we're in school, there had a major fire at Mays. Mays got secondary nursery, right through. Preschool to secondary. Preschool to secondary. Well, the principal of Mays said they're coming back bigger and better. Bigger, and I love it. You know? Love me a good comeback story. So they're coming back bigger and better. This is Principal Lucinda McCurdy. You know, it has occurred to me in my man's voice, I haven't seen the owners of this school. The Sugrims. I told you all, word in the street is Priya and his sister. Only school. Priya has denied that. She said some people call the Sugrims. Only school. But since the fire to now, I haven't seen or heard from them. But the school's principal said they're coming back bigger and better. Bigger and better. That's what she said. Yeah. As I said, I'm just putting it out there. I'd love to talk, perhaps too, with the principal. With the owners of the school, rather. But the principal, Lucinda McCurdy, she says the institution will rise from the ashes big and better. Big and better. You know, big and better. Let's see. You know, happy for them. You know, they're waiting on the government to render some assistance, some promises that were made there too. Wow, it's interesting because you could have CPC teachers, pre-service teachers, whatever it is, could do with some funding, but we ain't got time with that. I'm not saying don't help maids, right? I'm not saying don't help maids. I was teaching at maids at one point, right? So I ain't because the bridge that I cross. Yeah. But by God, you know, so lots happening, folks. Lots happening. Good to see Eva here with us. Christopher Chichester says, no sympathy or votes for the Mohammed. More power to you. Laverne and Leon. Marika, I just like the Bacchanal. I can tell you all that. I just like the Bacchanal. I want a little action happening than a boring decade, you know, or boring time you're living in. It's just dreary and dull. I like action. So I like the Bacchanal. Yeah. And it's gonna get even worse. I'm just referring to what my brother says. No votes or sympathy. No votes or sympathy. Well, we've applied to the ICJ, folks. You know, the Venezuelans, they're about to have an election for a governor for the Essequibo. Yes. For governor for the Essequibo. Well, let me start by saying the Essequibo is ours. My Venezuelan brothers and sisters, sorry to disappoint you all. Since in 1899 we know it with the Arbitral Award. And then in 1966 with the Geneva Agreement. Even more. Please and thank you. Sorry to disappoint. It is full, final and complete according to the 1899 Arbitral Award. Full, final and complete. That's it. That's it. So they're going to have an election for governor over our Essequibo. Can you imagine that? The gall of the people. But you know what's happening here? The same place that Jagdio them learned the propaganda from, Maduro them studied the same place. If you say a thing long enough, people start to believe it's true enough. And they've been saying this long. When babies are born, they whisper in their ears, Essequibo is yours. We slow to the draw. We are slow to the draw. We showed you before with Irfan said we're going to have a big public relations thing and we can do it consistently and all that. Out the window. As you were, the status quo remains. We lackadaisical. We need some turpentine. But you see, the problem with the PP is they're not nationalistic. It's pure self-interest. That's why the what do you call it? The Corruption Perception Index out of the Transparency International institution says we've been captured by the elites. Self-interest. Friends, family, and favorites. There's no nationalism there. If we care about our country, about its resources, we're going to try to thief it out. A cabal. So that's what's happening here. We've applied to the ICJ for provisional orders or provisional measures. Well, we did the same thing when the referendum was about to be had. It didn't make a difference. Right? But we got to do what we got to do internationally. I understand how these things work. I haven't studied the subject matter. I'm so happy I did the law. I'm so happy I did the law. The folks said I spent 10 years at university. Right? Minus but 5 after that. Tell you, I did a year, 2001, I think it was. Took a leave of absence, regretted it. My mother was right. Went back several years later and did a diploma in communication studies for 2 years. Y'all call it an undergraduate degree, something like that. Not undergraduate degree. You call it a what's the term? That when I graduated from that, then I went on to do my LLB, my Bachelor of Laws degree, and then when that was completed, I went back to do my master's. But there's where y'all can accuse me of sticking up. In 2010, I took a leave of absence for my master's program to campaign because the campaign thing was hot and you couldn't attend classes as regular. And so I say, right? But we gonna finish that. Ain't too worried. We gonna finish that. We gonna finish that. So we talk about that. But I learned a couple of things, doing law. You have to study international law. Right? Part of international law is how these things work. The ICJ and all of that. These international institutions. It's like you have some great professors, Probably still got some great ones in the system. So understand how it works. Why you need to protest and, make your voice heard. You can't come back later. Right? It's like what kind of land you call it? When people just go and occupy. Land law, study that too. Prescriptive rights. Right? If the people protest your occupation, you can't claim prescriptive right. Right? If your tenure on the land was broken by the protest of the people saying it's we land, come off, what you doing there, it's not yours. Look the paper here, look the thing, we own it. You can't come later on. So you gotta make your voice heard. These people say Essequibo is Terranalias. All these years we thinking nobody never object. So understand a little bit. As not the expert, but understand a little bit how the thing happens. So we got to do what we got to do. You see? But I endorse what Commodore Best said recently. I endorse what he said. He said we can't depend on diplomatic maneuverings only. Right? And he's right. He's right. If the US are going to help us, they could scramble some fighters quick and thing. But that can take a little while to come. What happens in the meantime? Right? So, Commodore retired, Rear Admiral retired. I've given you positions now. Former Chief of Staff again, Defense Force retired. He says we gotta equip ourselves, we could fend them off at least until we get greater help. So it's not just talking, and that's the problem we have. It's a lot of talk about recapitalization and this and that. We buy drone and this and that, but we didn't see when the syndicate was bearing down on us. The drone's working. But I'm happy that we've forwarded to the ICJ for provisional measures to block this election of a governor, or at least to make our protest known. You know, and got some weasels too. You gotta watch them. Look, you see this life real funny, boy. This life real funny. I saw a man, let me call it the umbrella man, James. You remember when he come out abusing for Ashruddin Mohammed? Is Ralph talking about, you know, really and truly. But it's just the analogy. I saw the man post yesterday how Jack Joe got brains. Look how the man attacking this thing from all angles without a script. Well scripted, my brother. Well scripted. Attacking. The man attacking a man you once fought down people for to say he's your friend and you got time with them and you celebrating. You see, politics is a strange thing, boy. Politics is a strange thing. You fought the public to hold the man umbrella. And now another man bashing me. And you siding with this man now. I guess you're siding with who got the most money, no? Who got the most influence and so on to further your own ambitions and so on. But I'm surprised. That's why I use it as an analogy here. Because you remember when Ralph was the best friend? What did abuse me for Ralph too? And I live to see the day Kanu board punt. Live to see the day Kanu board punt, Marlin. So how do you live to see the day? Guyana Times this morning, in one of their columns, asking, is Ralph an interlocutor? Or is Ralph for Maduro? I had to look to make sure I get the publication right. Is it Guyana Times? And in this column in the Times, the column is making the point that Ralph should be stating all the times in which Maduro has violated the Argyle Agreement. That's what he should be doing. Stating every instances. Because Jack Joe them think Ralph is a friend. They know Ralph for who got the most influence. And Ralph is who got the money that they could send. It's all about the brown bag. It's all about the sap. So, Guyana Times astonished this morning. Interlocutor or for Maduro? Same people. Same people. Same people. This politics strange, boy. Strange. Strange. Now, we got to guess in with the interlocutor there. We got to guess in right now. When we are there, may I speak to this matter? I see the abuse up Rowley. You all remember when Jack abused up Rowley? Now Trinidad said, I stand with Guyana. Trinidad got an agreement with the Venezuelans, the Dragon gas agreement. And Trinidad are afraid to say, I stand with Guyana. We got begging the interlocutor. We got begging me put out a statement yet. Bridgetown, don't hide on the CARICOM and say, oh, well, I part of CARICOM. CARICOM issue a statement, so I'm with that too. Me put out a statement yet. Oh my God. All of the what was the award we're supposed to have for democracy? Award for democracy? Wasn't that what it was at? All those persons who are going to be recipient. Guyana is still democratic. I hearing the voices. I'm not hearing the voices. I read a fascinating article last evening after the program from Foreign Affairs magazine. And they were talking about these shifts that are coming now. They said we had come away from acquiring territory by force. And the fascinating writers at Foreign Affairs magazine, they were talking about how we're coming back into that period now. Fascinating. And why we're coming back into that period. They point to Putin and Ukraine, US and they played Greenland that they want, and Trump, Gaza, and so on. Fascinating analysis. The geopolitics of how it'll become acceptable. And they said one of the biggest drivers of that is climate change. Climate change. As the climate becomes more volatile in some places and better in some other places, you say, well, I want the shade you got over there. So I was astonished, coming back to the subject at hand, to see the toilet paper newspapers. They seem shocked. Folks, we learned a long time ago in international relations, in this geopolitical sphere, no friends, no enemies, only interests. So Ralph looking after his interests, Maduro looking after his interests, Mia looking after her interests. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. So where are the voices? Where are all the voices? And you see the OAS, my lord. We're going to spend a whole show to talk about what the OAS has become. A whole show. We got to be careful out here. we got to be careful. You know. I heard a security guard was shot. And they always say you got to read the fine print. March 6th, security guard allegedly, accidentally shot. The guard shot himself while on duty at Gafour's compound, Commons Lodge. Right? Lionel Duke, a supernumerary constable employed by Sheriff Security Service, was a victim of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Sheriff Duke said he entered the washroom on the eastern side of the compound while armed with a service weapon, a 9mm pistol containing 10 live rounds. For reasons yet to be determined, Duke attempted to clear the firearm while inside the washroom, resulting in an accidental discharge that struck him, or rather that struck him, in the right foot, below the knee. Too many guns in the town. Man shoot himself. Never dull moment. Lionel, take it easy, my brother. Wishing you a speedy recovery. Man shot himself. Just like that, you know. Shot himself. Guy, a true guy needed to add some sound effects. The man shot himself accidentally. Lionel Duke, 22, black eye. See? True guy needs black eye. Shot himself. Let's be careful. Again, it's the wild, wild west. But look, story. You remember the fella from Ministry of Natural Resources? What was his name again? They're back in the backroom deals with Exxon. He was his sole auditor saying, Exxon really owe this money, this $214 million US dollars. Exxon really owe this, you know. You remember the man? He got a little slap on the wrist. They say he went behind the back and so on. He was in a frolic of his own. Right? When he was operating in that capacity, he was not, you're going to be thinking legally now. He was not an agent of ours. He was on a frolic. Now you know the matter is going to arbitration. That matter is going to arbitration. All this money that these boys claiming our auditors stole us, right? This thing is disputed. They couldn't spend all this money in these areas here. 240 million US dollars. You see them young teachers that are asking for that little stipend? This money could go to pay them. You see them young guys, Suku apprentice, they're getting 4,000 a week. This money could go to help them out. You see? How you could survive on 4,000 a week? What madness is this? What was the fellow name at Natural Resources? I know you all shocked. You remember the fellow name at Natural Resources? Bobby Gosai. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. Bobby Gosai. Bobby on the job, you know. Oh, to see he was suspended for a month without pay and thing. Wait. West side? Where? Bobby's in the same position or in the same... And they said he went behind the back, you know, to negotiate with Exxon. Right? And know how we stop corruption in this country? You got a little slap on the wrist. Pax. You get a little slap on the wrist. So they're going to arbitration for this to 14 million US dollars. Another matter going to arbitration. Them boys said they know more about the industry than the rest of us. They know more. Arbitration is skin. More arbitration. Look, so we're here now. This is on the Wales Gas to Shore project. Right? This contractor, LND CH4, right? He is contesting 50 million US dollars in cost overruns. 50 million US. Not Guyana dollars, you know. 50 million. You know, if we lose that matter before, that arbitration panel, tribunal, whatever it is, confabulation, wasted money. And them boys said they know oil and gas more than we, you know. They know it more than we. Arbitration for everything. Arbitration. 240 million, 50 million. That's money that could be directed elsewhere. Please and thank you. That can be directed elsewhere. Jagger told us yesterday that the goal program, especially those courses that are offered through Staffordshire University, is not fake. I tell you what the man said. He said it's not fake. That's what he said. It's not fake. Take a listen.
Professor Opadair. Now, Professor Opadair runs this program, the Gold Scholarship Program. He explained to us, and I think he put out a statement, that there is some disagreement now between the university and the group that the contracting group. It's ISDC, right? It's ISDC. And because of change in management at the university. He said to me today they have a meeting between the two entities to sort this out. It's not. ISDC is accredited to globally if you go on their website. So today, he said he's awaiting their completion of the meeting in London to know about the way forward. It's not fake. Nothing is fake. And he said also it's either they sort out the difference there, which could be sorted out, but if they can't sort it out, he has two other universities in the United Kingdom that will accept the grade that people got. They already credit them for work already done. So he has a really strong background in this. He's done a lot of this. I would suggest future to talk to him because he could be much more knowledgeable about all of these matters. That's why we brought him back to run the program completely, and we have great faith in him. So please deal with that. But I want to assure the people we're not going to leave anybody by the wayside. This has to be resolved to their satisfaction too.
Sabak News says fake. Top to bottom. Sabak News says a fraud. Top to bottom. I mean, not in those exact words, of course. Sabak News said they contacted the university, and officials at the university, sources at the university said they have no affiliation with IBSC, well, whatever the contracting companies there, and they have no affiliation with gold. Fraud, top to bottom. Top to bottom. Sabak News also says this morning that Staffordshire University was removed as an option for the gold scholarship awardees. Whatever website you would go on and blah, 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 blah. They've now removed that, but it isn't fake. It isn't fake. Father of his mercies. Lie. The mark lie. The mark lie. Life is so. It's not fake. It's not fake. They had a meeting. They worked it out. They worked. It's just miscommunication. Starbuck News called Staffordshire. They said we don't know about gold and we don't know about IBSC, whatever. Ray. We don't know about that. Yeah. You can imagine, Jesus. I heard Jack News said, if they don't work out, we can put them in some other places. They got some other universities in the UK, willing to take them. And listen to this, willing to accept the grades. Now, if Staffordshire says we don't know y'all, it means the grades are false. The grades are fake because Staffordshire didn't examine them. He said if Staffordshire is not an option anymore, we can put them in other places that willing to accept the grades. You all understand? Jesus, man. This is a man I want to preside over a whole election. Huh? This man, jeez, like nothing is sacred anymore. Those young people, big people, whoever was part of the program, no fault of their own. Sign up. Sign up. You're going to class, making the time, studying, and all is fake, you know. And fraud. So now Stafford News said to take down Staffordshire as an option. The thing that is not fake, that's not a fraud. That the meeting yesterday was supposed to sort out. Was supposed to sort out. You know, when this fella, I have no malice against Professor Jacob Upodei. He was the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana. I remember when he came first to UG. Oh, he had a whole plan how to make UG great again. Top to bottom. A whole plan. Right? Oh, but you are native there, back. Over there is African, comes from one of the African countries. Can't remember which one. Ghana, Kenya. But he's lived on this side of the Atlantic for a long time. He's been at UE for a long time doing a couple things. And then he fills it down here. Promise a lot. I don't know what Upodei could point to and said, this is what I actually did at UG. These are my accomplishments at UG. I don't know. But we had an inclination a little while that Upodei with them. I remember as a student leader, protesting for services being a little better than it was then. It was terrible then. And he was never on the administration side of the UG. He was never on the student side. He was never on the staff side. And PP went in power. So we always knew, if you're on the student side, you're on the administration side, you're on the staff side, well, whose side you on? And he said a couple very demeaning things to us as student leaders back in those days. Some he took some very strange postures. So we always knew. And then we saw him emerge in red PPP paraphernalia at their campaign rallies, and then he emerged as the supervisor for Irfan's doctoral thesis at UE, and then now he emerged as the head for Goal, right? Goal handling the same amount of subvention like UG, but Goal and UG has an academic board, UG has a council, UG has faculty and all that. Goal and got that, it's a one-man show. No wonder we got the problems we got with Goal. And now I see he got his hand also in the digital school. Well, for Paradigm Digital School is if you put a digital television on a wall and you can point at things. Like how telemedicine for them is you open a WhatsApp here and you open a WhatsApp up in the mountain and we talk to each other. That's telemedicine. Right? But it's more than that. So we had our inclination. And Student Cell is not only Staffordshire programs that got problems and that has asterisks over them. Just long now we watching Nopodei. Long now. He's a gaff man. He's a gaff man. But when it comes to delivering the goods, he hasn't done that to my alma mater. And with this Staffordshire issue and the fake and the fraud connections, my God. My God. But you know they run out. They send out the people for Azrudin. I tell you, we like the Bacchanal. We want no boring. Exciting days is what we like. You know, they send out the surrogates. Big letter writers in the papers. Grave danger. One letter heading says. Header. One title. Whatever it is. Grave danger of electing leaders who are under international sanctions. Grave danger. The PP elect the sanctions woman to the central exec. That didn't bother them too much. And she's sitting in the central exec. Right? And she could be on a list in a couple months for national elections. So our thing is, let's be fair. Since you started discussion, I would like if Jaglu could tell us all of his ministers currently who would have had their visas revoked. And before we even go there, might you tell us all them who were pulled in for questioning when they touched down at JFK and so on? Right? I mean, when I got JFK, hope he pulled me for questioning the Guyanese who working there. So, what happening back home, man? What happening back home? So they send out the letter writers. They send out the letter writers. And the man said yesterday, we're not putting individual interests over the interests of Guyana. That place nice, eh? That place nice. But you and I know the whole thing. You and I know the whole thing, top to bottom. Man say, I don't care who play marble with Chetty. I don't care. I don't care. Who play marble with Chetty?
Clearly, this Mr. Mohammed believes that, falsely so, that the PPP, out of some perceived loyalty to him and Azruddin Mohammed, will put at risk the future and the interests of all the people of this country for them, because somehow, somewhere in the past, he played marble with Chadi Jagan.
And we see all the photographs on social media with Jagdio hugging up with all of them. But folks, this is about the survival of the PPP, not Jagan's PPP. We ain't got time with Jagan who play marble and nobody who play marble with Jagan. This is about the survival of Jagdio, right? And it's going to get worse as we come closer to the election. That is what this fight is about. It's going to get even worse. It's going to get even more stinking as we draw closer to elections. So all the people who think they play marble with Cheddy and they're safe, right? I got news for y'all. This is about preservation of the cabal, and they will send anybody to the guillotine for them to stay in power. They will seek any higher power, quote unquote, to stay in power. Then go to Suriname, then go to Guadeloupe. You hear me? You hear me? You and I know Jaden got no moral compass to say who corrupt. I referred after this press conference. To the document, the publication that the US put out when it leveled the sanctions on the Mohammeds and it leveled the sanctions on Jagdio's permanent secretary, who by this time had her visa revoked and she was moved from the Ministry of Home Affairs to the Ministry of Labor. And in that documentation, the US said that there were other government officials, not official, because had they been singular, you would have said they were referring to me. But they said there were other government officials who were corrupt, not private citizens alone, but there were other government officials, plural. I wonder if Jagdio and them have been doing any investigation. I wonder if they've been doing any investigations about these other government officials who've been taking money, who've been thieving. Let's level the scales. Don't only talk half. Don't only talk from one side of your mouth. But it's lies for me, you know? As we wrap up, is it lies for me? The man was reflecting recently on the 2020 elections. The men said the last government shot at young people with pellets. I may have missed that. Right? The man that they shot with pellets with them. The man said young people were shot with pellets. Take a listen and see if you recognize this.
I looked at what happened, went back into the newspapers on March 6th of 2020. And on March 6th of 2020, we had massive protests at Lusignan, Cotton Tree, and at Bush Lot. And a number of people, particularly young people, came out because they had been following the events of the previous 4 days, and they saw what was taking place. That right before our eyes, APNU was trying to steal the elections through fraudulent declarations. They decided to come on the streets, to have none of it. And among those who came on the street were a significant number of young people, young men and women, whose future was at stake. And they were met with pellets by an order from the administration at that time, the PNC, to fire into the crowds. People who would normally, these were peaceful protesters, who were protesting, which is their democratic right to protest, and were protesting for a particular cause. They were met with pellets.
Yeah. The man who was met with pellets got Stockholm syndrome right now. The man who was met with pellets got Stockholm. This fellow could lie. Same fellow said, goal, and got no problem. Staffordshire ain't got no problem. It's not fake. It's not fake. It's not fake. The fella could lie. The fella could lie. King liar. King liar. Let's leave it there this morning, folks. Thanks to all 1,700 of you for joining us this morning. Let's leave it. The man could Diane Graves. The man could lie. Right? The man could lie. Naomi says she's Team Jack Dio. Naomi says she's Team Jack Dio. Yeah, watch Naomi, right? It's long now we get some inclinations, you know. Long now we get some inclinations where Naomi is. Right? A lot of people got Stockholm Syndrome, you know. A lot of people got Stockholm Syndrome. Man can lie, boy. Father of mercy. The man can lie. The man said, "Father, trying for TV plans." I said we were going. The man said, "Father, trying for TV plans." Father peeped the card. And not bringing some motions because they already had things planned out. Volunteer the plans. I ain't tell you all that.
We decided to fix all the roads through the cemetery, put up lights, upgrade, because we want to change the whole area. People can go visit the cemetery, etc. It's in a bad shape. She then moves to put a motion in Parliament so that people would think that when we move to do this road, the roads in the cemetery, that it was Valda Lawrence who caused us to do the roads. It's opportunism. They see it all the time. They know, for example, I see them putting up another motion in Parliament, the PNC, to ask the commissioner to enforce the law where people are using sirens on private vehicles, on the flashing lights. Now that they know President Ali has given instructions already, it's illegal. It's illegal. You don't need to go with a motion to Parliament to do that. You just need to call on the commissioner to do it, because the president has instructed him that these people are abusing the siren, etc. They're installing it privately on private vehicles. It's abusive.
Volunteer the plan. You see? And we've shared with you guys here that MP Annette Ferguson asked, if you all got a big plan for the cemetery, you all say it's a $2 billion plan. You're fixing the cemetery and the roads and so on. Where in this year's budget is that $3 billion allocation? Where in this year's budget is this big plan for the cemetery that Valda peep? You see? The vice president elevator doesn't meet the top floor. It does not. It stops halfway. It doesn't meet the top floor. He said President Irfan Ali has instructed the Commissioner of Police, people must not use sirens. But his instruction ain't got no weight. So Valda should write to him saying, do the thing. The president's instruction ain't got no merit, no validity, no weight. So we must now tell the commissioner, you hear the president say? Yeah. We're going to see you guys in the next one. We're going to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much, Lester and Kyle. Wendell Waveney. Petition. We must petition Hickins. Dan Graves, and we must tell you, the man just said, Irfan instruct Hickins. All we got to do is petition him, Hickins now, to implement the instruction of Irfan. Carlisle and all the other folks. That's going to do it for us this morning. That's our time. Good folks. You all have a fantastic day. Please and thank you. Have a fantastic day. Whatever you're going off to, whatever you're going to do today, have a great day. You all be vigilant and be safe. Be safe on those roadways. See you guys later.